Welcome back to Growth Over Easy. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the host was going through a study that was showing when humans get less than 6 to 7 hours of sleep every night. When that first starts happening, maybe you think you can get by on 5 hours of sleep, you notice it, right? You feel a little off. But over time, your body gets used to it. It gets used to only sleeping 4 or 5 hours, which makes you think, all I need is 4 or 5 hours. However, what's happening internally in your body, particularly with your brain health, is still declining. You're just no longer aware of it. I see the same thing happening with people who are living in chronic activation. Today, we're talking about what it is and what you can do about it. And I'm going to give you one very simple tool to combat the chronic activation if it's something that's showing up for you. Before we dive into that, if you are someone who gets home after work and finds yourself getting set off at the smallest things, you find yourself exploding and then completely going numb, withdrawing, or shutting down, I made something just for you. It's my field guide for leaders. It explains the explode shutdown cycle. Go ahead and grab the link in the show notes. So what is chronic activation? It's when our sympathetic state becomes our predominant state. Maybe you feel like you're always on alert. You're always in danger. If you stop working as hard as you're working, everything will fall apart. No one will love you. You will be abandoned. It might feel like you're just on edge. You're just stressed out. Something is always happening. You're in a constant state of either low-grade anxiety or maybe full-blown overwhelm. And this tends to stem from early childhood and some patterns of protection that you picked up along the way. And then it gets reinforced in different lifestyle choices, different relationships, so much so that it just becomes your default mode. The problem is when you're stuck in the sympathetic charge and you're not spending enough time in your parasympathetic, that rest and digest side of your nervous system, your body can be offline. Maybe your health is out of whack. You're experiencing sleep issues. And again, it affects your relationships. So the goal is to have a flexible nervous system where we experience activation and we experience safety throughout the day instead of living in this kind of high line of activation. And what I see a lot of men struggle with that I work with is they will go from highly activated to completely shut down at the end of the day. This can look like getting home from work and playing video games for 3 hours or drinking 6 beers because you just need to numb out and turn your brain off. That is a very clear sign that you are living in a chronic state of activation. And then your system is overwhelmed. It pulls the e-brake and shoots you all the way down into what's called dorsal vagal collapse. So how do we get into safety? Safety is that part of your parasympathetic nervous system where you slow down. Again, this is where your body can resume normal functioning for digesting and allowing you to rest. And it's also where you can connect with other people. I want to give you a tool that can help you get there because one of the ways we get our system into safety more often is through resourcing. What I'd like you to do, if you're in a safe place to do so, if not, pause this podcast and do it later. I want you to do some hand tracing with me. Take your dominant hand and hold it out in front of you. You're looking at your palm, your fingers spread out like a 5. And then with your non-dominant index finger, I want you to simply trace the outline of your hand, noticing how it feels on your dominant hand as your finger traces the outline. And I want you to go all the way through your hand. And then when you get to the end, take your time with this. On the way back, I just want you to slow it down a little bit. And as you do this, the only thing you need to focus on is what that dominant hand feels like as it's being traced. You can pause this, do that for about 60 seconds, and then come back. Okay, good. I'm going to trust that you just did the hand tracing. Now, I want you to get curious about what you notice in your body right now. Did you feel that downshift as your brain had only one thing to focus on, as you gave yourself some resourcing and gave your nervous system a chance to downshift? If the answer is yes, you notice that downshift, congratulations, you just brought some safety on board in your system. Now, resourcing is great. It helps us get more familiar with what safety feels like. But in order to renegotiate those patterns that are keeping you in a state of activation, and these are patterns that were likely formed in early childhood, your young adult life, in order to renegotiate those, we've got to work directly with your nervous system. And if you're interested in what that looks like, I want you to click the link in the show notes to get some time on my calendar and chat with me. And I will walk you through polyvagal theory, and we can explore what's going on in your individual system and if nervous system work will help you. I hope this helps, and I hope you choose growth this week.